Oh, y'all thought it was over. No, it's not over. I'm gonna get some more crybabies going inside the comment section. Don't worry. I already pissed off the Britt Baker marks. I'm about to piss off some more marks in a minute. I swear to God, bro, I'm turning into a wrestling drama channel. Like, I remember someone actually called me like yesterday or the day before yesterday. They're like, damn, bro, you spilling the tea. By the way, pause, suspect ass motherfucker. But damn, bro. There's just so much shit happening in wrestling right now. It's crazy when I don't see people capitalize on this shit, man. There's so much news to talk about, but people are like, oh, man, why won't you focus on the WWE? Because WWE ain't got shit going on. Until now. Check it out real quick. So, and look, this has been circulating around the news all day. I did peep this earlier this morning, but I said I wanted to talk about the Britt Baker stuff because I felt like that was the second most prioritized thing in my mind behind the Swerve Strickland stuff. Again, all this news is out here and y'all people out there talking about shit about, why won't you focus on this? Why won't you focus on that? Why won't you focus? Don't worry, bro. We're going to get to it. Chill. I love you still. I love you. Rikishi says Jey Uso could leave WWE for AEW amid booking concerns. Link is down in the description box below as always. Jey Uso has been on a remarkable run as a babyface on Monday Night Raw recently, but despite his strong performances, he hasn't been able to secure victories in key matches. This has led to Rikishi publicly criticizing WWE for their handling of Jey's booking. Rikishi even suggested that Jey Uso might consider a move to AEW if WWE continues to overlook him in important angles. What you doing, Keish? What you doing, bruh? Yo, okay, this man's wildin', but check it out. We're going to continue, though. Although he's delivered impressive performances, he has yet to capture a singles title. His participation in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match didn't see him pick up the win, but Jey Uso continues to be a prominent and influential presence on Monday Night Raw. While speaking on Rikishi off the top, Rikishi talked about Jey Uso's booking in WWE. Rikishi expressed his frustration with WWE's treatment of Jey Uso and questioned why, despite Jey's immense popularity and fan support, he wasn't given a chance to win the Money in the Bank match. Rikishi pointed out that Jey is one of the most exciting wrestlers, always delivering in the ring, and it doesn't make sense why WWE wouldn't give him an opportunity. Rikishi hoped that after the Money in the Bank match, WWE would at least set Jey up for some kind of title shot, maybe for the Intercontinental or even the World Championship. But when that didn't happen, Rikishi felt like the writers didn't know how to properly use Jey's character. He even considered telling his son to take a break since WWE seemed unsure of what to do with him. And I quote from Keish, "It comes from the head of the corporate table, as far as, I posted out on my social media about this matter with, I like to call my son the Yeet Man. And I mention this as no favoritism to him or just anyone, but as wrestlers, as a wrestler that's been there, put in work, and you can see the outpouring of love and support from the fans, whether it be Jey Uso or somebody else. That was my question, the same thing that you're asking, because I wanted to know, what is it that this kid has to do? We can see it's probably the hottest intro when this kid is coming out. The fans, you talk about fan engagement, you see it, we all see it, but yet when it comes time to give this kid his flowers and let's do business, why wasn't my son handled with the Money in the Bank? Why couldn't he? I mean, where's the guy that won the Money in the Bank? What is he doing now? What business sense does that make for a company to let the most exciting guy, a guy that is not a liability, pause, you fucking tripping on that point, but we'll get to that in a minute, a guy that shows up and shows out, a guy that does his job, what is it? Does it hurt the company to even give this kid a shot? So I thought, once the Money in the Bank didn't go through, I said, well, let's see what they do now. Maybe they would give him a shot, set him up for, I don't know, some type of belt, maybe an Intercontinental Champion belt, maybe that. Or if you ask me, I think he deserves a shot at the World Championship belt. And, when that didn't happen either, it's like, okay, I'm at this point where I just want to call my son and say, hey, go ahead and just take a break. Because obviously them writers don't know where to put you or where they can write something that's right for the character of Jey Uso, the quote-unquote Yeet Man. Rikishi also mentioned that, and by the way, end quote, Rikishi also mentioned that while WWE is making money off Jey's Yeet merchandise, Jey is out there working hard for his success, making appearances and engaging with fans, not because he has to, but because the fans love him. Rikishi stressed that his concerns could apply to any wrestler, not just his son. He hopes WWE will recognize Jay's value and give him the opportunities he deserves. Rikishi also believes that Jay could succeed elsewhere like in AEW if WWE doesn't appreciate him. He continues on, and I mentioned this, definitely WWE is making money off the Yeet Man. The Yeet Man is making money himself, but the only difference is the Yeet Man is working for his money. WWE, they're making, you see it every week, there's a new merchandise of Yeet coming out. This Yeet hoodie, this Yeet foam hand, this thing, that, this, that. The Yeet Man is out doing personal appearances. I mean, that's not because he has to, but it's because that's the demand of the fans. They want all the characters that they pick. They pick the Yeet Man. And so what I'm saying is, make no mistake about it, I am not favoring my son to be able to speak on this. What I'm speaking about is what's happening, because this can be any other wrestler. It can be a female wrestler, a guy wrestler, whatever the case. But what is the case? Why are y'all not pulling, lighting this kid up and just, letting him do his thing? But I appreciate everybody. For when I put my posts, everybody came through, because obviously y'all feel the same way I do. And let's just hope WWE gets it together and, does the right thing. At the end of the day, these are bodies. This is my flesh and my blood. And my flesh and my blood that's pounding his body day in and day out. When I see him, I see him. He has a family. Comes home and just, aching, and what I mean. His body's hurting, but he'll never sell it. He'll never sell it because he's not trained that way. He's not trained to quit. He's trained responsibility. You sign that dotted line, and that dotted line, I'm not talking about the contract. I'm talking about the dotted line for you and yours. That's bigger than what the purpose is for a contract with WWE. We already know the kid is so good. WWE ain't the only spot. He can probably go to AEW if he wanted to write his own ticket. Maybe more than maybe more than what WWE is making on him. And then they start to go on about fans being vocal about the approach of Jey Uso. So now that you have the full context, now that you have the full excerpt, now that you have the full understanding of what Rikishi is coming from, now mind you, I do want to say this isn't the first time Rikishi has actually spoken out on behalf of Jey Uso. Now, I didn't make a video at the time. It slipped my mind. I don't know why. And I said to myself I was going to make a video at the time. It kept slipping my mind, and other shit kept coming up that I had to talk about that was more important in the context as far as the greater value at that time. But now I'm here to talk about it. And I do want to reflect off that point like a month ago when he talked about the bloodline. He started making these weird points suggesting that the WWE were, I don't know what he was alluding to. I swear to God, it's like he was alluding to the fact that the WWE were not giving the bloodline opportunities. Like they were burying the bloodline. Like I swear to God, that's what he was insinuating. And the fact that people were legitimately engaging with what Rikishi was saying at the time, it just shows you the entitlement of this generation nowadays, bro. Now, mind you, coming from me, I'm a big Jey Uso fan. I make no bones about it. At the same time, I can completely understand where most wrestling fans are coming from when discussing Jey Uso, right? I can understand people kind of feel like this isn't like the year 2000 where The Rock can just go out there and just say his catchphrases and, spit out some characteristics that are formulaic. I get it. This isn't Hulk Hogan putting the hand to the ear. This isn't Austin sticking his middle finger every week and drinking beer and cussing. I understand trademarks nowadays ain't going to be what gets you over the majority of the time with the internet audience. Not to say that the internet audience, they matter in the end of the day, right? I mean, they are a fixture, but they are just nothing more than a minority, a vocal minority. I'm a part of that vocal minority. I get their concerns, but at the same time, I completely understand where they're coming from. At the same time, Rikishi, that's his son. I understand why he would go to bat for him. I get it. Anybody in his position would think the exact same way. But the things that he's saying, never mind the fact of how out of pocket they are, because you got to be out of your fucking mind to believe at this point in time that Jey Uso isn't given opportunities. You got to be out of your fucking mind and not think to yourself the shit that he was saying about the bloodline a couple of weeks ago that for some reason fans were actually bringing awareness to. Are you fucking tripping right now? The bloodline is the biggest thing going on in WWE at the moment. As a matter of fact, when he was saying that stuff, I think, and I could be wrong about this, this was like, what, back in late July? This was like towards the build with fucking Cody and Solo Sikoa. As a matter of fact, bruh, why are you talking about Jey Uso like this as if you ain't got Solo Sikoa right there, my dude? What you talking about? Like I said, I fuck with Rikishi. He's always been one of my favorites growing up. But at the same time, stupidity is stupidity, and you gotta call out the stupidity. Bro, you reckon as if, Jey Uso at that point in time was in a position, he wasn't in a position as if you ain't got Solo Sikoa, your other son? who's about the main event against Cody. So never mind the bloodline shit. Never mind that you have another son who's repping the bloodline and repping anything in regards to what the fuck is currently going on in WWE in regards to a push. Like, ignore all that shit that you were saying. You have another son, bruh. You do realize this, right? Not even talking about Jimmy Uso, who's probably going to come back into the fold and be just as over as anybody within the bloodline, because some people are actually missing him right now. Some people are actually curious as to what's going to happen with him. My dude, you got Solo right there too. Why are you ignoring your son like he's like some redheaded stepchild or some shit? I mean, bro, as a matter of fact, he's doing something right now with what? Your cousin, Roman Reigns? Another fixture right now blowing up. The biggest star in professional wrestling is your cousin, homie. Like, what you talking about right now, bro? Not even like your first cousin, right? Right, that's his first cousin, right? Because I think the Usos are second removed cousins for Roman Reigns, which means Rikishi, that Roman is his first cousin. Like, the audacity, bro. This is what I mean by the entitlement. And like I said, to a certain degree, I can get where Rikishi is coming from as far as wanting more for his son. But there does come a time when common sense has to play a factor into what the fuck you're saying currently at the moment, right? Like, bruh, let's take away all the things in regards to opportunities that you're making up in your mind as if Jey Uso hasn't been receiving for the past, what, fucking 4 years now? Arguably a lot longer than that if you want to take into context the Uso run. Consider one of the greatest tag teams in WWE history, for sure of the modern era. Like, the audacity to have these delusions in your mind to believe your son isn't given opportunities, bruh. But going back to the article, he did bring up a point. He says something along the lines of, and I can't remember the article verbatim, I could go back, but I'm too fucking lazy. I'm on the road talking right now. This man says something along the lines of, he has never been in trouble. Or he is never going to be in trouble. Something along the lines of that. Again, not speaking verbatim here. What the fuck are you talking about, bruh? It was like a meme at one point for how many times the Usos kept getting DUIs, bruh. What the fuck are you talking about? Now, granted, I'm not here to put Jay in a position. It's not as if he hasn't learned from his mistakes, right? Hasn't gotten in trouble since. But to pretend as if he doesn't have a past history of this, what the fuck are you talking about, Keish? Like, bro, you know this, that you capping. What you talking about? That's all bullshit. Not to say, once again, that he will be in a position to do that right now. I think he's a hell of a lot more smarter, especially getting older, knowing his position right now. He ain't gonna fuck up a bag like that, but at the same time, why are you pretending as if the things that has actually occurred in the past would not be weighing on someone's mind in a higher up position to think to themselves whether it's smart to put Jey Uso in this position? Now, again, he can make up for that. Now, again, it's not to say that he himself is the same person as to who he was about 6 or 7 years ago when he was this problematic. But to pretend that they didn't. Both Usos, remember, it was just earlier this year, I think either one, earlier this year or was it last year, when they were thinking to themselves that it was going to be a problem with the Usos crossing over the border. I think for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, I can't remember if it was this year or last year. They were actually considering whether or not it was going to be a problem of them crossing over the border because of their past history, their past criminal history. Why are you saying that this happens to not be the case? Why are you pretending as if this isn't weighing down on the minds of some of the higher ups as to why Jey Uso might not be in that position? I'm not saying that's why he's not in that position, but to pretend he doesn't have the history as to why they are thinking to themselves, should we give him the ball to run with it? It's the same situation with Jeff Hardy. Why are you pretending? Why are you capping? That is straight bullshit. You know you're lying. And like I said, I get it. You're daddy. You're supposed to do things like that, but we're not daddy. That's not my brother. That's not my cousin. That's not my father. That ain't my son. I don't give a fuck about Jey Uso as far as a personality, as on a personal level. I don't relate to him like that. He's a good superstar. I like him. But at the same time, I'm on the outside looking in. And what I see is him right now, currently in a position where there is a bit of a formula as far as attached to him. And maybe with this regime right now, they see other superstars and they have a different way as far as how they want to book certain things. You can agree to disagree. I get it. Me personally, I wouldn't mind seeing Jey Uso as the Intercontinental Champion. But when I think about it, right now, who's the current Intercontinental Champion? Braun Breaker. The aesthetic, the presence. He's younger, much younger than Jey Uso. We know where he's gonna go. We know that he's gonna be the next person who's gonna take over the company. We know he might even be the heir apparent to Roman Reigns going into the future. You can't just go out of your way and just usurp all that, take all that away from this kid right here for a 40-year-old Jey Uso, who at this point in time, even you have admitted he's hurt. Like I said, I get it. Third time, repeating myself. I understand. You're his dad in the end of the day. But logically speaking, for the rest of us on the outside looking in, we see more than what you just see. Should Jey Uso be a world champion? Should he be an Intercontinental champion? Yeah, when the story calls for it. When the opportunity does arise for it to make sense. To do it out of nowhere just simply because he has the aesthetic and just because he's massively over. I mean, honestly, what that tells me is that, does he really need a world championship? Does he really need an Intercontinental championship? You know, back in the 80s, back in the early 90s, most people didn't need that. Jake Roberts never won a world championship. Hell, Jake Roberts never won a title period in WWE. Roddy Piper was never a world champion. Owen Hart was never a world champion. British Bulldog was never a world champion. Razor Ramon was never a world champion. But guess what? All those guys are much well known than even your son Jey Uso at the moment. And none of them needed a world championship in order to get over. What you're saying essentially is give the belt to him to validate him? So what you're saying is he needs more in order to validate what he is right now, while at the same time actively calling him one of the most popular wrestlers currently in the business right now, period? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So what the fuck is the validation needed for? Does he get more money as a champion? If that happens to be the case, okay, I can understand that. I get that. I don't think that happens to be the case, honestly. I mean, really, this isn't like WWE back in 1996. And if it is, I don't think it makes that much of a difference, right? Right, I don't think they really base it off of championships anymore, right? As far as you being the champion, I mean, you're going to do the media rounds whether you're champion or whether you're not champion. I think that's what you're paid on. I could be wrong about that. Someone can correct me. But like I said, even if it were, for an example, championship royalties, is it that much different compared to the regular royalties? Does it not make up for, I don't know, whatever royalties you're currently getting at the moment? Again, I'm not understanding the aesthetic as to what he needs the World Championship for or the Intercontinental Championship for outside of the fact of validation. Now, if you want to talk about his booking, if you want to talk about him being on the shows or whatnot, I can understand that to a lesser degree, right? Although he is on the show, but I guess you mean more in a prominent role. Does that really matter, though? Does it really matter if he's still going to be over regardless? If he's still doing the media runs, does it really matter? In the end of the day, right? Like, man to man, let's put the wrestling shit aside. He's still making the bag, right? Right? At the same time, too, bruh. Why would you put your son's business out like that? So from what I'm understanding, you guys had this discussion before as to whether or not he should be going to AEW. See, this part really bugged the shit out of me the most out of all this, because I don't think people are going to discuss this. I get Rikishi being upset about all this, but you do have to realize Rikishi talking about this, these feelings, he wouldn't just be saying for no reason. It wouldn't just be coming out of nowhere. You got to believe that Jey Uso is probably telling him all this, most likely, which means that Jey Uso kind of feels like he's entitled a little tiny bit. Feels like, to me, I mean, call me crazy, feels like you're being a little bit ungrateful, bruh. You are in a position right now, in my opinion, where you are very, very limited in regards to what you give back to the fans. I mean, it's working for you. Like I said, people call me out as far as putting you on a pedestal, and they're saying, Devontae, I don't think you understand how limited this guy is. I don't think you understand he's not really providing anything of substance currently at the moment, and I put you over all the time because I think what you're doing right now works for you. But it doesn't mean that they're wrong. And for you to just consistently go out there, well, I'm not going to say consistently, because like I said, there is no proof outright that he did say any of this. It's just crazy that I don't think his dad would just outright just bring this shit up, talk about it, shoot from the hip, brother, without you actually talking to him first, feeding him all this stuff. How does he know your feelings, right? You might have an inkling, but I don't think he knows what you're thinking as far as you wanting to go to AEW. Why would you say some stupid shit like that? I mean, outside of the fact that Rikishi and himself was dumb enough to just say it out there, like, why would you do that, bruh? Why would you do that? Like I said, maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh, because it's not as if Jey Uso probably went to the higher-ups and told him that he wanted to go to AEW if he was not given a prominent position. Again, he might have not. But for Rikishi to just go out there and just say the shit, bruh, it's already bad enough that Jey Uso is already being looked at least for me, as being entitled. being ungrateful, bro. It's already bad enough that you probably came into this position regardless to begin with through nepotism, because that's how you came into the business, right? All your family is going to come in through nepotism, whether through Rikishi, whether through Umaga, whether through Yokozuna, whether through The Rock, whether through Roman Reigns, for some of the rest of your extended family coming in right now. Well, ironically, whether through you guys, you and Jimmy, and at this point, maybe even Solo. Sooner or later, Jacob Fatu. It's all nepotism in the end of the day. So to pretend as if, whoa, fuck this leverage. And look, good on you. You got leverage. You can do whatever you want to do. But I just think, and I'm going to reiterate this word one more time, it's a little bit ungrateful to be as limited as you currently are at the moment, thinking you're owed anything when the timing is currently not right for it. And this is coming from a big fan of Jey Uso. Rikishi, he needs to shut the fuck up, bro. On some real shit, like, I don't got any sense if I'll have the balls to ever say this to Rikishi's face, but as a big fan of him, a big fan of his son, y'all really need to shut the fuck up. Like, oh God, y'all just shut the fuck up. Because anybody else in your position making the money that you're making, I get it. I get it. In the end of the day, you want to do more, but the timing ain't right for that right now. You are in a position, your popularity currently right now is right now in a position where you will get that opportunity, bruh. So why do all this and then ruin it? You don't think creative people, the higher ups, Nick Khan, Triple H ain't hearing what you fucking saying? You don't think this shit isn't circulating through social media and ain't popping up in Triple H's notification, bruh? I mean, come on, man. Now, if you feel that leverage is going to do something for you going into AEW, then go ahead and try it. Maybe it might work. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. My point being is, though, right now you are in this position. Why ruin the bag for no reason? It makes no sense to me. Why ruin the bag? Right now, if they want to, they could bury the shit out of you for the stuff that you were saying. And how useful will you be for AEW right now if you were to get buried, versus how useful you will be for AEW if you shut the fuck up, let your contract run out, and then use it as a leverage point. Think of the bag in the end of the day, bro. Think of the bag. Wrestlers nowadays are such marks for themselves, they don't think past the point of what the fuck is currently happening outside of the wrestling bubble, bro. I would like to think that me ranting about this, again, maybe there's some context that's just not present at this moment. I like to think that maybe the things that I'm saying right now, it's not in correlation to the reality of what's currently happening with Rikishi and Jey Uso versus WWE. But if this is all that I'm seeing, what Rikishi is reciting, y'all ain't thinking right. And y'all should know better. Especially Rikishi being in the business for nearly 40 years. You definitely should know better. Crazy as fuck, man. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below in regards to how you feel about the situation. Was Rikishi right? Was he on point? Do you feel that Jey Uso right now has more to give and WWE isn't giving him anything worth of substance for him to sink his teeth into? I mean, take away all the personal stuff, all the money that he's making, how rich he is. Arguably, for real, one of the more popular wrestlers in the world currently right now at the moment. Do you feel the points that Rikishi brings up in regards and related to Jey Uso has any merit? Do you feel that Jey Uso right now should be in a bigger position? Never mind the stories that are currently playing out at the moment, and never mind the fact that sooner or later that bloodline story is going to get really, really huge again, and that he's most likely going to play a part in that. But let's ignore all that. Let's ignore all that for what's not happening right now. There's no way in hell that Jey Uso does not know going into the future, probably going towards War Games, that he's going to be a big feature player going into the whole bloodline story that's probably going to play out this winter, playing out throughout the fall most likely, going into WrestleMania. A key feature player sitting back and actually saying to himself, damn, I want to do more. And I get it. Maybe he wants to do more from a solo perspective, no pun intended. But damn, bruh, you about to get more popular than ever before. You about to get more of the bag. And you gonna sit here and just talk all this shit and ruin it for no reason. Get the fuck out of here, man. My name is Devontae, and I'll be catching y'all later. Let me know your thoughts down below. A deuces and a P. Eyes.